Hey there, day 91. Yesterday was Nibbles' birthday, which was day 90, and we took a 0 yesterday. So happy birthday, Nibbles. We got off at High Point Park in New Jersey. And the cool thing is we took the day off and it rained all day. And nothing feels better than taking a 0 and watching it rain all day. Because it's almost like knocking out two birds with one stone. You get to skip the aggravating process of drying all your crap out after a good rain. There I am, shaved. I try to shave pretty regularly. I know it's not like the in vogue thing to do when you're a thru hiker. You're supposed to look like you're from the 1890s and that you're part of the gold rush. Maybe the 1990s, right? But I shave because, well, my wife prefers it that way. And also, it's just easier to keep all the ticks and bugs and food. Like all my buddies who have facial hair. Like, I feel like I'm there when they eat with me. I'm at least the guy who's like, hey, bro, got a little something over there. So yeah, High Point, New Jersey. We're gonna go walk by the highest point in the state, which has a big, what are those called? Like an obelisk sticking off the top of it. Yeah, it's like one of those. It's like a mini Washington Monument, like DC Washington Monument. As you can see, it's wet out. It's still rocky. Oh, there's also word on gut hooks that the rocks end in like 2 miles. So we got started today at noon. Gary and Debbie, Katie's parents, or Nibbles' parents, came to visit us for the birthday and for Father's Day. And we hung out, did a resupply, stayed at, I think it was the Hampton Inn in Port Jarvis, there's 3 towns there because it's 3 different states come together in that one point: New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York. So we stayed there, did a little resupply, ate at a pretty good little restaurant last night called the Erie Hotel, and I think that was in the New Jersey side. Highly recommend it. It's not like a 5-star restaurant, but it's like a really cool old style American. You know, they've got a great menu, bar, and the food is definitely, there's some value to your dollar there, and it's good. Everything's sauced really well. Anyway, we ate there. The Hampton Inn was awesome because it was really nice, and you also get their continental breakfast was pretty amazing. I mean, it just had everything, so there's no need to go out and waste more money on breakfast when you've built it into the cost of the hotel. And we did laundry, and there's a pool. The pool was closed because they were doing some maintenance, but they said it's always open otherwise. Anyway, good times. We're gonna go. So we started at mile 1338 this afternoon. It's about 12:30, and we're gonna just see how many miles we can do today. We're gonna shoot for 14 because there's a shelter in 14, and we'll just camp there at the shelter. And typically, so I know I'm always like, oh yeah, we're gonna shelter. When you stay around shelters, most shelters have 2 things besides the shelter, or 3 things I should say besides the shelter. They've got a picnic table, so you can actually sit down and eat your dinner at a table, which is really nice. And then they have, there's typically a privy, and there's typically good water nearby, like a good water source. And there's typically a tenting area, and sometimes there's like a bear box or a bear hanging station, so you don't have to go through the ordeal of hanging your bear line, which, if you've ever hung a bear line, it can be an ordeal if you're not like really good at it. But you should hang. I know everyone is like, oh, I just keep my bag in my backpack. Well, if you watched our video from yesterday or the day before, we saw, or Nibbles saw, 3 bears, and I saw just a little cub, and we did catch that on video. So check that out. Yeah, and there's a super high density of bears around here. There's Nibbles back there.
Hi.
Here we are at the top of the climb. Little observation tower action. I would call this zero visibility.
Huh.
You hear that bird with that like descending call? I'm not sure if you can hear it on this. That's a veery. It sounds like it's got two. It sounds like it's got two like voice boxes, or like if you did a call down a long hollow tube. I haven't heard it in this. Let's see if we hear it again. Of course, I haven't heard it again. It's really dark right now. Just check the radar, because that's what I do. That's why my name is Radar. And it didn't show any rain, but I feel like the sky might open up on us here shortly. I think so. I don't know. It's just like, it might not look that dark on the video, but man, it is. Like, I feel like it's almost nighttime and it's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Might even be 2:45. We've gone about 6 miles, maybe 6.5 miles so far on probably a 14-mile day. We're just hiking this afternoon. We stayed at Mosey's place. Mosey hiked the trail in 2015, and she completed it. She's a retired mail carrier, and she said she had a mail route where she actually carried 8 miles a day for I think the last 20 years of her career. She was like, I'm not one of these people who just sits in a truck. That's not really how she talks, but whenever you talk about trucks, you have to throw a little American accent in there. So anyway, she told us that we're coming through here, this part of the state, because this is where she's from. She told us that we're coming through this part of the state earlier than she did, and she said she thinks we'll be done by August. She said the first week of August. We still feel like we're on schedule for the last week of August. So who knows? Who knows? But she seems to make it sound like the trail's pretty easy from here on out, except a few major hiccups. And they're not hiccups because they're beautiful places to go. But she said you might get hit with a couple nasty multiple day rainstorms. The whites. I can't stand hearing people talk about the whites anymore. I just need to get there and check them out. People from New England, you'd think they were talking about climbing over the Himalayan range. And then everybody who hasn't hiked them, just all they can talk about is changing temperatures and highest wind speeds on Earth. I mean, it's a mountain range, and I get it. There's quite a few different weather patterns that all meet right over Mount Washington, which makes it a very tumultuous area weather-wise, so we'll just watch that. Someone gave us a good piece of advice. They said, if the weather sucks, wait it out, because it's totally worth it. And they told us that somewhere in like the pit of Virginia, like in the 700s. 700s, we'll talk about those another day. And I'm talking about mile 700 northbound. Anyway, this is what we're doing today. We're hiking through this beautiful lowland forest in New Jersey, and we're about 30 miles, somewhere around 30 miles, and we'll be out of the state, back into New York. So it's really exciting to see that a state like New Jersey, you know, the only thing I know about New Jersey is the New Jersey Turnpike, which is, it's not that bad. Newark, New Jersey, I guess. I've flown in there. I know that. I think we all do. But this has just been really, this has been a real pleasant place to be. I've really enjoyed it.
I like the frog in the middle.
Oh yeah, there's a frog. See the frog on the wall? Turtle on the log. Man, look at this. There's someone here that likes their forest. This is private property to our left. If I had a forest, that's what it would look like. I can afford to keep it that nice. There's a rabbit in the middle of the trail. Oh, there he is. See that snake hole back there? There's no snake in it. It's just all the snake eggs were... There were a bunch of snake eggs that were hatched that were pulled out. A lot of people don't like snakes. Smells like smells like those little honeysuckle plants. Nice cool looking house. They have a great view and a lot of mosquitoes. This is the NWR's Liberty Loop Trail. I'm telling you, New Jersey's cool. We just did a ridiculous climb. It wasn't even that ridiculous. It's just 100% humidity today. I'm on the shelter road. I think it's about 6 o'clock, 6:30, or the shelter trail. We put our packs down because we're gonna just go see who's at the shelter.